Good morning. My name is Tricia Jacobone Biaggi, and I'm a community volunteer from Shelburne, Massachusetts. I'm also a former public health professional, and I recently received my Master of Science in Security and Resilience Studies from Northeastern University. My focus on community resilience against threats to human security inevitably led to research into what I consider to be the most profound threat to humanity, the climate emergency. And I can say with 100% certainty that we must reduce our greenhouse gas emissions immediately. And when I say immediately, I mean yesterday. We must maximize all available emissions reductions and accelerate the transition to zero emissions of all vehicles, not just passenger cars. I've witnessed firsthand what happens when extreme weather events disrupt communities. And it's not just the communities who are immediately impacted by the weather events, but it's also the communities who receive the people fleeing those events. I know this from serving as a local volunteer in Texas as part of the response to Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. I walked through the Austin Convention Center trying to help people who were living out of suitcases, duffels, and plastic bags they threw together as they escaped the rising waters along the Gulf Coast. I gave directions to a man and his teenage son who were trying to find lodging farther and farther north as they drove their car, filled to the brim with their belongings, from New Orleans. Climate refugees, whether they are fleeing wildfires in the west, hurricanes on the Gulf Coast, or rising seas in the east, are becoming a fundamental aspect of how we view human security in the 21st century. And indeed, a whole discipline of climate security has arisen as a result. There is nothing that the climate emergency fails to affect, and we must do whatever we can to mitigate its impact. Greenhouse gas emissions have fundamentally altered our climate. And now that we know this, we're responsible for correcting it. One way to make a dent in emissions is through implementing more stringent standards for all vehicles, including trucks such as the ever-popular SUV. Now, while I would prefer to make clean energy electrified public transportation the norm in the US as it is in many other countries, I realize that we have a car-driven culture that will be difficult to unravel. So we need to find other ways to lower our emissions. Increasing emission standards for trucks would absolutely be part of the solution. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for your comments.